Welcome back into Scouting Movies, everyone. Today we're talking about a weird one. So let me set the stage for you here. Imagine that you've got this gritty, grimy Hollywood mystery screenplay here. Okay, you've written it really dark, really examining the underbelly of Hollywood in a way that's really kind of dark. And then the producers take your screenplay, hand it to Blake Edwards, and say, go shoot this exactly as it's written, but make sure it's funny. Okay. That's where how you get Sunset. That's the movie we're talking about today. It's somehow neither a comedy nor a thriller, but a confusing swirl of both that doesn't accomplish anything. It's a head scratcher. So let's talk about Sunset. Once again, starting with a synopsis. It takes us back to 1920s Hollywood, where silent films are on their way out, talkies are on their way in. Uh, and Western star Tom Mix, played by Bruce Willis, is brought into play Wyatt Earp for a movie that this really silent Western that's still operating in the time of silent films. And Wyatt Earp himself is brought in to consult on the film, played by James Garner. And then the two stumble upon a murder mystery that's led by some of Hollywood's producers, and they have to solve this mystery. What do you think? uh, Sounds a little weird. Suddenly, these two guys that aren't supposed to be involved in anything like this are off crime solving, adventuring through the underbelly of old school Tinseltown. So essentially, it's LA Confidential with cowboy hats and circus villains and a few awkward punchlines thrown in that don't really work. So on paper, it could work, right? I mean, you've got Blake Edwards behind the camera. He knows what he's doing from a comedy perspective. He made the Pink Panther series of movies. He's done several other types of comedies, all or most really, really well done that are really funny. You've got Bruce Willis and James Garner, two guys that know how to handle both action and comedy. Uh, so it should work on paper, but it just doesn't know what it wants to be. Sunset started as this dark, moody script about the sleazy side of Hollywood. Edwards comes in, whether he was directed by the producer or whether he couldn't help himself. Either way, he tries to add his signature comedy touch to this movie. Problem is, this movie isn't the Pink Panther. You can't just slap a few quips onto a noir plot and expect it to click. So what we end up with is kind of a whiplash, a bad melding of oil and water that ends up being two separate tones that are trying to exist in the same movie and never can do that. One scene has Bruce Willis firing these off one-liners that don't work. The next has a trapeze artist that's a villain doing flips during a murder sequence. I mean, what? It's like the film is constantly trying to decide what it wants to be. Does it want to be fun? Does it want to be fatal? Ends up doing neither very well at all. So let's talk about Bruce Willis and James Garner. Uh, they're great actors. James Garner was very established at this time. He had done multiple types of films, and he knew what he was doing, both from a comedy perspective and a dramatic perspective. Bruce Willis was very new to the scene. He had done a TV series called Moonlighting over several seasons. That was a comedy, and so he had known how to do those things. He had done a couple of other comedies, including one with Blake Edwards himself called Blind Date, back in 1987. So he knew how to do it. He knew the director. It's marketed at, I mean, you want to root for them just because they've got that natural charm, but they're stuck in a script that doesn't give them much to work with. Willis is clearly supposed to be, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, the cocky movie star with a heart of gold. So Garner, he's this grizzled vet, a guy brought in who did the actual things that they're trying to present in the movie. Uh, it's a classic duo setup, but it doesn't work ever. The writing doesn't let them cook. The comedic timing is off. The dramatic beats are undercut by these awkward gags. It's just ends up feeling like a waste of pretty good casting. Uh, you keep waiting for that really good buddy comedy to kick in, and it never does. The core issue with Sunset is that it has an identity crisis. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It's marketed as a comedy. You hear the score, you see the posters, you see the tagline. It's giving you that breezy throwback Hollywood vibe, but underneath there's this grimy, gritty murder mystery that's supposed to be all dark and brooding, and tries to break through this comedy, and the comedy tries to break through the thriller, and it never does anything. It never gels. It's like imagine someone trying to do Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but saying you can't use cartoons. Uh, it's kind of that sort of vibe where you are setting the film up for failure already because you've got one tone of a movie and someone else is saying you've got to do another tone of the movie, but don't change anything. So it just doesn't land. Blake Edwards has a real legacy in film, no question. But here it feels like he's trying to force his comedic instincts onto a story that it would never fit. It wants to be dark, it wants to be edgy, and it should have been. Uh, the content that's in this movie needs to be dark and thriller esque. The comedy feels completely misplaced. Again, I don't know if it's Blake Edwards. I don't know if it's the producers. I don't know if it's both. Uh, it's just the wrong movie. It's the wrong genre. It's the wrong everything thrown into a movie, and this movie pays the price for it. Uh, if I want to say one good thing, I guess if I have to say one good thing about the movie, the costumes are pretty great. Um, you get the feel of 1920s glamour along with the feel of Western. So the costumes are pretty good. Uh, you can see I'm reaching here, though. There's not a whole lot of good to talk about this movie. So it's a frustrating watch. Sunset is. You can see the bones of a good movie that could have taken place if maybe interference hadn't happened. But instead of embracing that, you get pulled in a completely different direction. So what could have been a really slick period thriller gets genre mismatched here, and it's hard to sit through and even harder to pin down. So, what grade would I give Sunset? You're about to see my lowest grade so far. This is a solid D. It's a stylish mess. It had the potential to be great. You could see it if it just picked a lane and stayed in it, but it never did. It's all over the place. It's mismatched. It's messy. It doesn't fit in any one genre. Sometimes good movies can do that, but you have to really set a course to accomplish those things. And this movie just tried to make one thing become another without changing the first thing. And it's bad. It's messy. So that's a wrap on Sunset. If you've seen it, kudos for sticking it out there. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you actually thought it was good, or let me know if you thought I was spot on with it. Is there a better version of this movie hiding in here somewhere? Or is this just a Hollywood doing too much, trying to do too much, and coming out with this mess? So, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll catch you sometime with something a little bit different. Whether it's a good movie, a bad movie, anything, and everything in between. I hope you stick it out and let me know what I should review next. Thanks, everyone.